What a curious place.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Have you ever been in a situation, maybe, I don't know, a really weird meeting or starting a totally new job, or even trying to get your head around some complex new idea where the rules you thought you understood just dissolve? Where the words sound familiar, but the meaning gets twisted and you just feel completely, well, lost, that kind of cognitive whiplash.
That feeling is exactly what we're digging into today. We're looking at probably the ultimate literary study of structural and intellectual chaos. Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Right.
We're focusing on the first 12 chapters, basically tracking Alice as she navigates this world where, the fundamental laws, physics, time, conversation, even basic manners just stop applying.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And this really isn't just a kid's story, is it? It feels more like a detailed, almost clinical look at how we cope, or maybe more often don't cope, when we're overloaded with confusing information and the structure just falls apart around us. So our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack Alice's journey right from the start. Her descent into this incredibly fluid, almost terrifyingly logical, illogical world. We want to pinpoint those moments where her Victorian common sense gets completely overturned.
And analyze the wordplay, which is just relentless.
Oh, absolutely. And look at how the creatures she meets don't just put up with confusion, they seem to actively use it, almost weaponize it, to maintain their own bizarre kind of authority.
Precisely. It's not just about what happens, but digging into the why. How Carroll uses what looks like innocent nonsense to critique, well, pretty much everything. Education, the legal system, social rules, even the very idea of who we are, our identity.
Okay, let's dive in. It all starts, kind of ironically, with Alice being incredibly bored, doesn't it?
Yeah, peak boredom. Sitting by her sister, who's reading a book with no pictures or conversations. That emptiness, that lack of stimulation, is almost like the necessary void for Wonderland to rush into.
So,
she needs something to happen.
a spark.
Exactly. And the spark arrives with this perfectly calculated level of absurdity. Just seeing a white rabbit wouldn't do it. Alice even thinks that herself.
Right, she notes that.
But it's the details. Pink eyes, okay, maybe unusual, but then it pulls a watch out of a waistcoat pocket.
That's the bit.
And says, oh dear, I shall be late. Suddenly, time isn't just passing. It's a personal, urgent problem. And that's when Alice breaks from her reality and follows.
So she follows him down the rabbit hole, not even thinking how she'll get back out, and starts falling. But the fall itself is the first big shock, isn't it? Because it's so weirdly slow.
It's incredibly slow, like the opposite of a sudden plunge. Carroll really emphasizes that she has plenty of time to look around.
Yeah, she takes her time.
And the sides of the well aren't just dirt. They're lined with, well, signs of human order, almost. Cupboards, bookshelves, maps, pictures. It's like falling through someone's abandoned study.
And there's that brilliant little detail, the jar she finds labeled orange marmalade. It's empty, of course, but even though gravity seems to have, taken a break, she's still worried about dropping it and killing somebody underneath. So she carefully puts it away in another cupboard as she falls.
And that one small action tells you so much. Physics might be out the window, but Alice clings desperately to her ingrained Victorian manners, her sense of propriety. She's trying to impose order through politeness, which is obviously, well, completely useless here.
Then she tries intellectual order, right? Trying to figure out how far she's fallen. 4,000 miles near the center of the earth.
Yes, and she tries using those nice grand words, latitude and longitude, but then immediately admits she has no idea what latitude was or longitude either.
Yeah.
It's this attempt to use scientific language, almost like a shield against the chaos. But she's applying structured concepts, math, geography, to something fundamentally structureless.
Right.
It's a sign of the deeper confusion to come.
The fall eventually ends, and the theme immediately shifts to her size, this uncontrollable transformation. She lands, finds the tiny door to the beautiful garden, but she's way too big.
Right. And she wishes she could shut up like a telescope. Perfect foreshadowing there.
So the transformations start. This is the first real attack on her sense of self, isn't it?
Absolutely. She finds the drink me bottle checks. It's not marked poison, which is quite practical of her, actually.
True.
But the taste, it's this explosion of sensations. Cherry tart, custard, pineapple, roast turkey, toffee, and hot buttered toast. All comforting things, but mashed together into this overwhelming chemical signal.
And it works. She shrinks down to 10 inches. Perfect for the door.
Except she's forgotten the key.
Yeah.
Which is now way up high on the glass table.
Yeah.
The solution creates the next problem. It's a classic Wonderland trap.
This cycle just keeps going. She finds the eat me cake, eats it.
And boom, the opposite happens. She shoots up to over 9 feet tall, hits her head on the ceiling, completely trapped. She's a giant now, but she can't move, she's lost control, and crucially, she's starting to lose her sense of who she is.
This is where the identity crisis really hits hard. She asks herself, if I'm not the same, who in the world am I? That's the great puzzle.
And she tries to use her knowledge, her school lessons, to anchor herself. But it all goes wrong. Multiplication tables, 4 times 5 is 12.
And 4 times 6 is 13. It's not just getting it wrong, is it? It's like the basic rules of logic, the very foundation of math, have broken down. If 4 by 5 isn't 20, then what is reliable?
Exactly. Her whole intellectual scaffolding is crumbling. Geography fails too. London is the capital of Paris. She starts thinking she must have been swapped for someone else, maybe that dull girl Mabel she knows. Her identity is tied to her knowledge, and her knowledge is failing.
And the final proof for her is when she tries to recite that nice moral poem, How Doth the Little Busy Bee?
And out comes this completely warped version about a crocodile, cheerfully grinning and welcoming fish into its gently smiling jaws.
It's the total opposite. The original is about hard work. This one's about, well, happy predation. Her moral compass is spinning too.
This pileup of confusion, isolation being the wrong size, it leads to this massive emotional outburst. She cries so much as a 9-foot giant that her tears form a literal pool on the floor.
The pool of tears.
Yeah.
About 4 inches deep, it says.
And then, of course, she shrinks again because the white rabbit's fanny dropped and ends up swimming in her own tears.
Wow. So the environment itself is made of her own distress.
Precisely. And she's suddenly not alone. She's surrounded by other creatures, a mouse, a duck, a dodo, all equally wet and miserable, washed up from her pool. This marks a shift, doesn't it? From her personal chaos to a kind of group chaos, an administrative problem.
Okay, so they all scramble ashore, soaking wet. The problem, how to get dry. And the mouse steps up, tries the scholarly approach.
Yes, the mouse, being the intellectual of the group, suggests the driest thing he knows, which turns out to be history, a long, dry account of William the Conqueror.
Which predictably doesn't work at all.
No, it just confuses everyone. The duck keeps asking what the archbishop found. Alice finally has to say, I'm as wet as ever. It doesn't seem to dry me at all. It's a perfect example of how book learning, totally disconnected from reality, is useless here.
So academic knowledge fails. Enter the dodo. And this is where we get the caucus race.
Ah, the caucus race. One of the absolute highlights of Carroll's satire. The dodo calls it an energetic remedy.
And the rules are just genius in their pointlessness. The course is sort of circular, but the shape doesn't matter. Everyone starts when they want, stops when they want.
So nobody knows when it's actually over. It's pure procedural chaos, designed for an ambiguous outcome. After about half an hour, they are dry, mainly just from running around.
And the dodo makes the grand announcement. Everybody has won and all must have prizes.
It's brilliant. It's a perfect parody of, committees or organizations with complicated, pointless procedures that exist only to justify the outcome the leader already decided on. The process validates itself, even though it achieved nothing specific.
And the prizes. That's the final touch. Alice has to give her comfits away to everyone else.
And then the dodo solemnly takes Alice's own thimble from her pocket and presents it back to her as her prize. It's completely circular, meaningless, but done with such seriousness.
So after that absurdity, things shift back to language traps. Alice asks the mouse about his long and a sad tale.
Right, why he hates C&D cats and dogs. But Alice hears tail and immediately visualizes his actual physical tail. She's confusing the word with the object.
And it gets worse when he recites his poem, the one about Fury in the Mouse Trial, which is punted in the shape of a tail.
Alice keeps interrupting, trying to be helpful by talking about the visual shape on the page. You are not attending, said the mouse. I beg your pardon, said Alice very humbly. You had got to the 5th bend, I think. I had not, cried the mouse. A knot.
She's applying literal visual logic to something abstract, literary, and the mouse just gets offended and walks off. Communication breakdown again.
And Alice makes one final blunder. Trying to be friendly, she starts talking about her cat, Dinah.
Oh.
How Dinah is such a capital one for catching mice. And, oh, I wish you could see her after the birds. Innocent enough in her world, but here.
Mentioning a predator, even a faraway one, is terrifying. All the remaining creatures just vanish, leaving her alone again.
Which sets up the next encounter. The white rabbit reappears, sees tiny Alice, and instantly mistakes her for his housemaid, Marianne.
And sends her off to his house to fetch his fan and gloves, orders her around.
Alice goes in, finds another mysterious bottle, drinks it without thinking this time,
Oh.
and starts growing. Again,
Yeah.
massively. She gets stuck, fills the whole house, arm out the window, foot up the chimney, physical chaos as a trap again.
And poor Bill the Lizard makes his second appearance.
Yeah, the rabbit and his neighbors try to figure out what to do. They decide to send Bill down the chimney.
Bad idea.
Very bad. Alice just gives a sharp kick, and Bill shoots out like a skyrocket. Carol calls him the poor little thing.
They threaten to burn the house down.
But Alice cleverly shouts she'll set Dinah on them. The idea of the cat is still potent. Then they start throwing pebbles, which mysteriously turn into cakes inside the house.
And she figures it out this time. Pebble cakes must make her smaller. She eats one, shrinks, and escapes into the woods. She's slowly learning the rules, sort of. Okay, so she's escaped, but she still can't control her size. That seems to be the central problem. And then she meets the caterpillar.
Ah, the caterpillar. Smoking a hookah, 3 inches high. This is a whole different kind of challenge. Philosophical indifference.
It starts right away with that blunt question. Who are you?
And Alice genuinely can't answer. She tries to explain, I hardly know, sir, just at present. At least I know who I was when I got up this morning, but I think I must have been changed several times since then. She says, I can't explain myself, I'm afraid, sir, because I'm not myself, you see.
And the caterpillar's response is just brutal dismissal. I don't see. Or later, simply, it isn't. He completely rejects her subjective experience. Her feelings are irrelevant to him.
Alice tries to argue that he might feel differently if he suddenly changed into a chrysalis than a butterfly, but he's just not interested. Not a bit, says the caterpillar.
So she tries the knowledge test again, reciting a poem.
Right. You were old, Father William, which is another complete inversion. Instead of a pious lesson, it's this surreal dialogue about an old man doing impossible, absurd things, balancing eels on his nose, standing on his head, and giving ridiculous justifications.
It confirms for Alice that she has changed. Her memory isn't working right. Her core programming is corrupted.
Finally, the caterpillar gives her the clue, the famous advice about the mushroom. One side will make you grow taller, and the other side will make you shorter.
But the mushroom is round. How do you know which side is which?
Exactly. It requires careful experimentation, nibbling tiny bits. And the results are dramatic. First, she shrinks so fast her chin hits her foot.
Ouch.
Then she eats from the other part, and her neck just stretches. And stretches up above the trees like a huge serpent.
Which leads directly to the confrontation with the pigeon.
Yes. A big pigeon attacks her, convinced she is a serpent coming after its eggs. Alice tries to argue, I'm a little girl.
But the pigeon's logic is devastatingly effective in Wonderland. It asks if she eats eggs. Alice admits she does.
Then you're a kind of serpent, the pigeon concludes. That's all I can say. Identity here isn't about what you are inside. It's about what you do, what category your actions fit into. If you eat eggs like a serpent, then for all practical purposes, you are one.
That's a really unsettling idea. Relativistic identity.
Totally. Alice manages to use the mushroom bits to get back to a more normal height and heads toward the little house. But first, the footman.
Oh, the fish footman and the frog footman. This is bureaucracy gone mad.
It's pure performance. They're solemnly exchanging this invitation for the Duchess to play croquet with the Queen, but it's all gesture, no substance. Then the frog footman just refuses to answer Alice's simple question about how to get in. He'll just sit there till tomorrow or next day maybe. Protocol over purpose.
Inside the house. Chaos. Utter chaos. Pepper everywhere. Everyone's sneezing violently.
The Duchess is nursing a baby. The cook is throwing pots and pans.
Yeah.
Its domesticity is a war zone.
And the Duchess herself is just aggressive and constantly finding morals in things. She sings that awful lullaby. Speak roughly to your little boy and beat him when he sneezes.
Horrifying. Then she just tosses the baby at Alice and leaves.
And the baby... Well, it's not quite right, is it? It keeps grunting.
Yeah, Alice carries it outside, and it stops sneezing but keeps grunting, and its features change. It turns into a pig.
A pig?
A perfectly handsome pig, Alice thinks. She sets it free. It shows that even the most fundamental things, like, human babies, aren't stable in Wonderland. Everything is subject to transformation.
Then the Cheshire Cat shows up again, grinning.
And gives Alice maybe the most direct explanation of Wonderland she gets. He tells her flat out, we're all mad here. I'm mad. You're mad.
How does he know Alice is mad?
Simple, or you wouldn't have come here. Classic Wonderland logic. Then he proves his own madness by comparing himself to a dog's growl when angry, wagtails when pleased. He claims he does the opposite.
But he's purring, isn't he? Alice notices that.
Exactly. It's a rhetorical trick. He defines madness based on an arbitrary, possibly false inversion of logic.
And then the vanishing act. Tail first, slowly fading.
Until only the grin remains hanging in the air. This is huge.
A grin without a cat. It's the most curious thing I ever saw in my life.
It's profound, isn't it? It's about separating the attribute from the thing itself, the effect without the cause, like meaning without words or, well, a smile without a face. The ultimate symbol of Wonderland's disconnection from reality.
Right, so after philosophy with the cat, Alice stumbles into what might be the most famously frustrating scene. The Mad Tea Party.
Oh, definitely. This whole chapter is just a masterclass in how to destroy polite conversation and undermine language itself.
She arrives, sees the March Hare, the Hatter, and the Dormouse all crammed together at one end of a huge table. Plenty of room, but...
No room. No room, they shout immediately. First breach of etiquette. Then the Hatter tells her hair needs cutting. Just incredibly rude.
And the March Hare offers her wine when there isn't any.
Setting the tone right away. Communication here is dishonest, intentionally misleading. When Alice objects, they turn it back on her. It was rude of her to sit down without being invited. Rules are just weapons here.
Then they get into those linguistic games. Say what you mean.
Alice says she does, or at least she means what she says, which is the same thing.
Not the same thing a bit, cries the Hatter. And they launch into that whole tangled argument, I see what I eat is not the same as I eat what I see.
It's deliberate confusion. They're playing with syntax to prove that words don't have fixed meanings, or at least that similar sounding phrases can mean totally different things. It's like being trapped in a meeting full of jargon, isn't it?
Totally. Where saying anything clear just gets you tangled up. The central theme, though, seems to be time.
Yes. The Hatter's watch. It doesn't tell the time, only the day of the month. And it's 2 days wrong.
He blames the March Hare for putting butter in it. It was the best butter, the March Hare meekly replies.
And the Hatter explains why time is broken for them. He quarreled with time, personified as him last March. He was singing at the Queen of Hearts concert, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Bat, and the Queen declared he was murdering the time.
Huh. So time got offended.
Apparently so. And as punishment, time refuses to do anything the Hatter asks. It's permanently 6 o'clock. Tea time.
Forever tea time. That sounds awful.
It is. They have no time to wash the dishes, so they just keep moving one place around the table. Endless, repetitive, pointless activity because of this breakdown with time. It's a fantastic metaphor for being stuck maybe in a routine or a job you hate.
And amidst all this, the Hatter asks that famous riddle.
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
Does anyone know the answer?
Nope. When Alice gives up, the Hatter admits, I haven't the slightest idea. Neither does the March Hare. The riddle isn't for answering. It's just a conversational dead end. An exercise in pointlessness.
Just like the Dormouse's story. They keep pinching him awake.
Right. The story about the three sisters, Elsie, Lacey, and Tilly, living at the bottom of a treacle well.
Living on treacle?
Alice asks that. And the Hatter jumps in with that classic false logic. If you can draw water from a water well, why not treacle from a treacle well? Hey, it's stupid. Linguistic similarity equals physical possibility. It doesn't, of course.
And what were they drawing?
Everything that begins with an M, says the Dormouse, such as mousetraps and the moon and memory and muchness.
Muchness? That's not even a thing you can draw.
Exactly. It highlights the complete breakdown of categories. It just lists things that sound right, regardless of meaning. Alice finally storms off in disgust. It's the stupidest tea party I ever was at in all my life.
Can't blame her. But she does manage to use what she's learned. She finds a door in a tree.
Back to the Hall of Doors. And this time, she uses the mushroom, gets her size right, uses the key, and finally, she gets into the beautiful garden.
So she finally reaches the garden she saw through the tiny door. Is it peaceful?
Not exactly. It's beautiful, yes, but it's ruled by absolute terror. The first thing she sees are these gardeners, shaped like playing cards, numbers 2, 5, and 7.
What are they doing?
Frantically painting white roses red. Why? Because they planted the wrong color tree, and they're terrified the queen will find out.
The Queen of Hearts.
The Queen of Hearts. Her reputation precedes her. This immediately tells you the whole system runs on fear and covering up mistakes. Then the royal procession arrives. It's literally a deck of cards come to life. Clubs are soldiers, diamonds, courtiers, hearts are the royal children, and then the king and queen.
And the queen, what's her first impression?
Loud. Very loud. Her main contribution is screaming, off with his head, or off with her head, about pretty much anything. It's a pure, arbitrary power.
How does Alice react?
Interestingly, she's starting to push back a bit.
Yeah.
She recognizes them for what they are, nothing but a pack of cards, and when the queen yells for her head to be removed, Alice just calls it nonsense.
Ew.
Then comes the croquet game, which is, well, it's Wonderland croquet.
Meaning,
Total chaos. The croquet balls are live hedgehogs, the mallets are live flamingos, and the arches are soldiers bending over.
that sounds impossible.
It is. The hedgehogs unroll and wander off. The flamingos keep looking around. The soldier arches keep standing up. The game is designed to be unplayable, constantly frustrating, which just gives the queen more excuses to yell, "Off with their heads!"
While all this is happening, the Duchess is brought back. She was imprisoned earlier.
Apparently for boxing the queen's ears. But now she's back, and she's weirdly affectionate with Alice, digging her sharp chin into Alice's shoulder. And she's obsessed with finding a moral in absolutely everything.
Ah, the moralizing Duchess.
Yes, she finds morals in flamingos biting. The moral of that is birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
Alice points out mustard isn't a bird, so the Duchess finds a new moral about minerals than vegetables. Each moral is more convoluted and less relevant than the last.
Doesn't she come up with one incredibly complicated one?
Oh, the masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's a parody of dense, philosophical-sounding language that actually means nothing. Never imagine yourself not to be otherwise than what it might appear to others, that what you were or might have been was not otherwise than what you had been would have appeared to them to be otherwise.
Wow. Okay. That's a sentence.
It's designed to sound profound while being utterly empty. Pure verbal domination through complexity. Like the worst kind of academic or corporate jargon.
The queen gets tired of her eventually.
Yes, banishes her again. Either you or your head must be off. Then she sends Alice off with a griffin to meet the mock turtle. And this is where Alice gets a crucial piece of info.
What's that?
The griffin tells her casually that the queen's executions. It's all their fancy that.
Ah.
It never executes nobody,
Really? So it's all bluff.
entirely performative. The threat is real, the fear it creates is real, and keeps everyone in line like the gardener's painting the roses, but the actual consequence doesn't happen. Authority based on illusion.
So the mock turtle, what's his deal? He's always crying.
Perpetually sobbing, yes. Used to be a real turtle, apparently. He tells Alice about his school in the sea. His master was an old turtle they called Tortoise.
Because he taught us, of course.
Naturally.
Well-
And the subjects they learned. Pure linguistic substitution.
Like...
Reeling and writhing, of course, to begin with. And the different branches of arithmetic. Ambition, distraction, uglification, and derision.
Uglification and derision as math subjects.
It's Carol mocking that kind of rote Victorian education where fancy-sounding words matter more than actual understanding or usefulness. What use is learning ambition as math.
They also learned mystery, ancient and modern, with seography, then drawing, stretching, and fainting in coil.
And the school hours. They had lessons that lessened each day. 10 hours the first day, 9 the next, and so on. So the wordplay is built right into their schedule.
It all culminates in the lobster quadrille, right? The dance.
Yes. The description is wonderfully absurd. Line up, advance twice, change lobsters, throw them out to sea, swim after them. Ritual without reason.
And the mock turtle sings his sad song about the whiting and the snail. Will you walk a little faster?
While sobbing, of course. The griffin keeps up the puns, too, explaining that boots under the sea are cleaned with whiting, not blacking, and made of soles and eels.
And a fish needs a porpoise, not a purpose.
Exactly. The world is literally built on puns. Every word is unstable. Alice tries again to explain she feels different, tries reciting another poem.
Which comes out wrong again. 'Tis the voice of the lobster.
And the mock turtle actually complains. What is the use of repeating all that stuff if you don't explain it as you go on? It's by far the most confusing thing I ever heard.
The irony. He finds her confusing.
It shows that Wonderland can't handle explanation or context. Her attempts to impose order are the most disruptive things she can do.
Okay, just as the mock turtle is getting really into his turtle soup song, they hear the cry, "The trial's beginning!" This is the climax, right?
Absolutely. Alice and the griffin rush off to the court.
Yeah.
The Knave of Hearts is on trial for stealing the queen's tarts. And this whole scene is Carol's final blistering attack on the legal system.
Oh, so?
Well, look at the setup. The king is the judge, wearing his crown awkwardly over his wig. The jury, 12 creatures, are busy writing down their own names first,
Why?
for fear they should forget them before the end of the trial. Priorities, you know. They're more concerned with bureaucracy than justice.
And Bill the lizard is back as a juror.
Yep. His pencil squeaks, so Alice just takes it away from him. Poor Bill has to pretend to write with his finger. Then a guinea pig cheers and gets suppressed, stuffed in a bag, and sat on. Justice is arbitrary and slightly violent.
The charge is read by the White Rabbit.
Yes, the Herald. Simple nursery rhyme stuff. The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts. The Knave of Hearts, he stole those tarts. Straightforward accusation. Evidence. Not so much.
The Hatter is the first witness, still holding his teacup.
Mid-tea, yes. He's immediately threatened with execution if he's nervous. His testimony is just pure confusion. He talks about bread and butter, the twinkling of the tea, nothing relevant.
And the jury.
They dutifully write down nonsense. He mentions dates, the 14th, 15th, 16th of March. They write them down, then added them up and reduced the answer to shillings and pence. Utterly irrelevant calculation, treated as serious legal process.
While this is going on, Alice has another growth spurt.
Yes. She realizes she's growing again. This is key. The dormouse, who's also there, tells her off. You have no right to grow here.
But Alice is changing. She's getting bolder.
Definitely. She dismisses him. Don't talk nonsense. You know you're growing too. Her physical size is empowering her to reject the absurdity. She's literally outgrowing the system.
The cook is the next witness. Doesn't last long, does she?
Barely. Ask what tarts are made of. She just says pepper, mostly.
Yeah.
Then the dormouse shouts, treacle, leading to more chaos, the dormouse being suppressed again, and the cook just vanishing. The trial can't handle even minor disruptions.
And then the final witness is called Alice.
She's surprised?
Jumps up, much bigger now, and knocks over the whole jury box with her skirt. The jurors go flying like goldfish out of a bowl.
And she has that moment, putting Bill back in the box.
Right. She puts him in, head down at first, then thinks, oh, well, it wouldn't be of much use, whether he could hear anything or not. She's realized how pointless the individuals are within this ridiculous system.
Ask for her evidence. What does she say?
The simple truth. Nothing whatever.
Which throws the king completely. He needs something.
So he invents a rule on the spot. Rule 42. All persons more than a mile high to leave the court.
Alice isn't having it, is she?
Not at all. That's not a regular rule. You invented it just now.
The king insists it's the oldest rule. Alice delivers the killer blow, that it ought to be number one.
Huh. Using logic against his arbitrary rule.
And it works. The king turns pale. His made-up authority is fragile when faced with actual reason.
So what's the final piece of evidence?
A piece of paper the White Rabbit finds. It's a set of verses, but they're unsigned, not in the knave's handwriting, and completely ambiguous. Stuff like, I gave her one, they gave him two, and they all returned from him to you.
Meaningless.
Totally. But the king desperately tries to twist it into proof. That must be the tarts, he declares. It proves his guilt. He's determined to find meaning where there is none.
Alice's reaction.
She's reached her limit. She shouts, it doesn't fit you. There's not an atom of meaning in it.
And the queen plays her final card.
Sentence first, verdict afterwards. The ultimate expression of injustice.
But Alice is too big, too empowered now.
Exactly. She looks at them all, fully grown, fully realized. Who cares for you, she shouts. You're nothing but a pack of cards.
And that breaks the spell.
Completely. The declaration shatters the illusion. The whole deck flies up into the air, attacks her. She screams.
Who wakes up?
Wakes up, head in her sister's lap on the riverbank with just some dead leaves falling on her face. The chaos resolves back into the ordinary. Hashtag take tag outro.
Wow, what a journey. So across those 12 chapters, Alice is just relentlessly battered by nonsense, isn't she? She keeps trying to apply the logic she knows, manners, math, rules, basic cause and effect,
to a system that seems specifically designed to break that logic at every turn. And her identity is constantly messed with, tied to her physical size, which is controlled by, magical snacks.
So what's the big takeaway here? She doesn't really solve Wonderland's problems, does she?
No, not in a conventional way. I think the key thing is she doesn't beat the system by its own rules. She simply outgrows it. When she was small and followed the rules, she was a victim. Remember the mouse, the caterpillar? But when she becomes physically large enough, confident enough, she gains the power to just dismiss it. To call the authority figures what they are, a pack of cards, and their power just evaporates.
It's her sister's reflection at the end that really ties it up, though. She imagines all those crazy sounds Alice described.
The teacups rattling, the queen shrieking, the mock turtle sobbing.
And realizes they were just the ordinary sounds of the countryside. Sheep bells, a shepherd boy, cows lowing. The chaos of the dream gets reinterpreted back into the calm order of reality.
And the very final thought is the sister picturing Alice grown up, still telling these strange stories, but keeping that simple and loving heart of her childhood. She holds on to the experience, but isn't trapped by it.
Which leaves us, and you listening, with something to think about maybe, in our own world, which can feel pretty nonsensical sometimes, full of jargon, weird rules, processes that don't make sense.
Those treacle wells or caucus races we encounter.
Exactly. When you run into that stuff, what's the best approach? Do you rigidly stick to the logic you were taught? Or is there value in maybe learning to accept the madness just enough to understand it, to grow intellectually or maybe professionally, until you can see it clearly?
And then have the confidence to call it out for what it is.
A pack of cards. Maybe the goal isn't always finding the answer, but like Alice, learning how to ask the right questions. Or maybe just learning when to stop playing the game altogether.
A pack of cards, indeed. Well put.
Until next time, keep diving deep.